Remember, this is about we, not me. And I think that also relieves a lot of guilt that we have as mothers. Um, Particularly in the US, mothers face more guilt than any other country in the world. And that is because we are an individualized society, which says if there's challenges, that's you to work out. That is your problem. That is your issue. But when we all come together and realize, wow, this is not just because I can't manage my time well or I can't get it together. It goes much deeper than that. So that's the first thing. Remember the power of we, right? Versus me. I think the other thing to think about is we talk a lot about work-life balance this, and balance doesn't exist, right? There is no such thing as work-life balance, but there is work-life conflict, right? We do face work-life conflict, and women face more work-life conflict than men. And if you look at the history, that kind of goes back into why. It's because women tend to have this conflict between, in sociological terms, it's called family devotion versus work devotion, right? And when we are not devoted to family, we feel guilt. When we are not devoting ourselves to work and living up to what's known as the ideal worker standard, the ideal worker syndrome, which says, I'm devoted to work 24/7. I'm always here and I'm always available. It's impossible to be both the family devotion and the work devotion model. And so from that context, it's that conflict we need to break down, and we need to understand that it's just a social construct that we need to decide for ourselves what works, right? The other big piece in the course, a whole module we devote to it, is gender equity in the home. And this can be really challenging for a lot. But one of the reasons why it's so, once women have stepped out of the workplace and are looking to re-enter the workplace, as a mother, right, who has stepped out, chances are fairly high you are managing all the things in that home, right? And it is a full-time job. So when we think about going back into paid work, we're thinking, how can I possibly have two full-time jobs? So it is really having those hard conversations around what is going to shift in that home environment, and how can we look to partner in different ways and more equitable ways. Equity means fair, versus equal is 50-50, right? So whatever is equitable in one person's home might be different than what is equitable in another person's home, but it's around finding that balance of what feels equitable to each. And so those hard conversations are really important, and really impact our work and our paid work, right? So a lot has to change for women in the workplace. A lot has to change at home for us to continue to drive and be successful in the workplace.